My name is Kate Daniels, and this question comes to you from the Women's International perspective. Bahraini journalist Suad Hamada, whose writing focuses on politics and women's empowerment in the Arab world, would like to know, in its 5 years of operation, Guantanamo Bay has held 775 detainees, 6 of whom were from Bahrain. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, as of November 11th, 320 are still incarcerated. Amnesty International reports that, while many prisoners have been released, others have simply been transferred to the custody of other countries. As president, will you close Guantanamo Bay? What will you do with the 320 detainees still incarcerated? Malawian journalist Pilarani Semubanda has twice been named Malawi's best female journalist. She has also won several international journalism awards. Her question is, Africa is the continent richest in natural resources, yet because we are the most affected by global climate change, our continent is now experiencing loss of productive land and critically reduced rainfall. The $35 million in U.S. aid that goes to Malawi every year is vital for rural economic development, basic education, and health care for people in our poor nation. Barack Obama argues that the advancements in stability and living conditions in poor nations would minimize their interest in terrorism and enforce the security of Americans. Do you agree that increased aid to Africa is not only essential, but a responsibility the U.S. cannot afford to ignore? Journalist and economist Cecilia Fuentes writes from Los Angeles, California. Her question is, farm subsidies in the U.S. no longer go to family farms. Instead, over $20 billion a year in subsidies are paid to huge corporations growing only a handful of crops for profit and not for food. In addition, these monoculture crops have been environmentally devastating, while the agricultural subsidies have negatively affected our standing within the World Trade Organization. Do you believe the farm subsidy programs need to be reformed? As president, would you support a bill that limited, if not eliminated, our present enormous agricultural subsidies? Would you veto a farm bill from Congress that failed to reduce these subsidies? Based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, WIP news editor Louise Belfrage would like to know, as president, how would you approach the continuously rising anti-Americanism? What is your view on the causes of it, and what can be done on behalf of the U.S. to better its international moral standing? Vera von Kreuzbuch's career began in Argentina. She now writes from Berlin, where she reports on international news and culture in Germany and the European Union. Vera would like to know, what is your stance with respect to the U.S.'s plans to build a missile defense shield in Poland and the Czech Republic? Laleti Mabasa is a WIP contributor from Zimbabwe. She writes under a pseudonym because of the country's persecution and intolerance of journalists. She would like to know, in what way will your foreign policy differ from President Bush's, which includes both the war on terror and critical reductions in U.S. aid to developing countries such as Zimbabwe? Will you commit to using diplomacy instead of unilateral military action? Do you believe that military action is ever an effective means of exporting democracy? Sarah McGowan is the WIP's content and photo editor. She would like to know, if you become president, would you sign the Kyoto Protocol? If you'd like to hear more from this writer, or any of the other writers that contribute to the Women's International Perspective, please visit us at www.thewip.net. Thank you.